I'm calling from a booth in the Hotel Delmonico.
Where'll it be tonight, Delmonico's or the Plaza?
That little nook at Delmonico's.
Look, we're going to Delmonico's for supper. Won't you join us?
We'll see the shows at Delmonico's, and we'll close the town in a whirl. And
Well, Clarence, if you're going to Delmonico's with us, you'd better get dressed.
Am I going to? Jiminy!
Join me at Delmonico's on Sunday instead. I'm having a nice oyster supper in your honor.
Lunch at Delmonico's.
Trust me on this. Anyone can go to Delmonico's.
I'll tell you, we're at Delmonico's in New York about 2 months from now with Olivia on my arm. And I won't be wearing any blue suit either, bub.
You might be wondering, what do all these bits and pieces of films and TV shows have to do with each other? Well, they all speak about Delmonico's, America's first real restaurant.
Delmonico's was started by two brothers, the Delmonico brothers. They were from Switzerland, and they owned a little place about 4 or 5 blocks away from here. I don't know what they sell, cigars, and pastry or something like that. It was really like a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And then there was a massive fire down here, and he burned everything downtown.
Yeah.
Then they bought a plot of land right here, and they made Delmonico's. They built Delmonico's.
Wasn't it originally called the Citadel?
Yeah.
It was
exactly.
first called the Citadel, and then
Yeah.
after it became known as Delmonico's.
If you go outside of Delmonico's right now, there's 2 pillars. The white pillars, the first one when you go out, they're actually from Pompeii. So at that time, you could bring a lot of stuff to the States. Not nowadays. Anyway, the custom here is at Wall Street, the brokers, they rub it for good luck. When they get out of Delmonico's and when they come in Delmonico's, they've been rubbing it out lately,
By the way, how are your stocks doing after 12 years? Mine ain't doing so good.
The restaurant was such a groundbreaking idea that it quickly became the talk of town. Everyone had to try it. It featured a carte, or menu, a new amenity at this point with the dishes listed in both English and French. An even more original idea that would be imitated by others for years to come. Patrons were allowed the privilege of selecting their own dishes, each separately priced as was the Parisian custom. This was very unlike the traditional America. As you can see, Delmonico's history is one of firsts.
It's the first formal dining restaurant in the United States of America. First restaurant to write their own cookbook, which is called the Epicurium, which gives you recipes for fish out of the East and Hudson River, which I don't suggest you do today.
Not now.
No.
Not nowadays.
Yeah. First restaurant where there's a celebrity chef, his name is Charles Reinhofer. First restaurant to cater off-premise. First restaurant to print their own money. First restaurant to implement busboy and waiters duties, like who was doing what for the day and the week and however they scheduled it. Invented lobster Newburgh, chicken a la Keen, baked Alaska, Delmonico steak, and Eggs Benedict were all invented here. Eggs Benedict was created for Mr. and Mrs. Lagrange Benedict. They were patrons, especially during brunch hour, and she wasn't happy with the over 300 items that they had on the menu. So she wanted something else created, not in her honor, so to say, but just something a little bit different. And Chef Charles Reinhofer came with Eggs Benedict. Just happened to create the dish and just named it after her.
Exactly.
Baked Alaska was created in the honor of the purchase of Alaska as a territory, not as a state, from Russia.
Everybody learned it in school. If you went to school in the United States, it's like, why in the world did we buy Alaska? At that time, $1 million was a lot of money. And, you know, Lord and behold, look what happened with Alaska. There was gold, there was oil, and, you know, when it was the Cold War, it was very close to Russia, at Soviet Union at that time. So in his honor, and for the purchase of Alaska, the chef made a dish, baked Alaska. You know, it's meringue outside, and inside you have banana ice cream. And so it's cold and hot, and it's baked. So when it comes out, it's warm outside, and nothing happens to the ice cream inside because of the meringue. Baked Alaska. Lobster Newburg, same thing, was invented here, which was not called Lobster Newburg.
Lobster a la Winberg.
He was a sea captain, very good friends with the chef. And actually, he gave the chef the recipe. To this day, nobody knows where this captain picked up that recipe, except there was only one problem. They were really good friends until they got into an argument.
A little bit of a discrepancy.
Yes. And the gentleman was banned from Delmonico's for the rest of his life. And the chef was so angry at him, nobody knows what the argument was about, and he changed the name to Lobster Newburg. What else was here first? The first American Express card to be accepted was accepted right here, Delmonico's.
First restaurant to allow women to come without a chaperone.
That's right.
First restaurant to employ women, too. That
Exactly.
Also, yeah. First formal dining restaurant, not only in the United States, but in New York City.
Yeah.
Had the largest wine cellar at that time.
Exactly.
I mean, it not only did it change the history of New York, but they spawned to many other Delmonicos, not just this one.
Not just that, it also it was a first formal restaurant, which the United States did not have at that time.
Yeah.
You know, so it made a lot of firsts, and everybody started copying. You know, if it wasn't maybe for Delmonico's, there would be no tablecloths. You know, there'd be no printed menu, but they caught on from that, and all the big people at that time, from wealthy people to Diamond Jim Brady, and to politicians.
Actors, movies.
Yeah, I mean, going back, everybody came here. I mean, every president ate here, going back to Abe Lincoln. I mean, the last president that ate here was, I think, George Bush Senior.
Senior Bush.
Yes. Junior did not make it.
No.
Bill Clinton did not make it, but his wife did have a function here when she was running for Senate. And Obama passed by when he was going to Wall Street.
He just waved.
He just waved, so he did not make it here.
He didn't make it.
Yeah. So maybe in the future. You know, Charles Dickens, and who else? Writers, movie stars, politicians, you
Everybody
name it.
who was anybody, came to
yeah,
Delmonico's.
Exactly. It was the place to go if you're somebody.
Yeah.
In honor of Delmonico's prestigious guest writers, the owners created downstairs private rooms named after them. There's the Dickens alcove and the Twain rooms, which has a very interesting legend.
There was a woman murdered here at the bar at Delmonico's, which is in the Twain room, and she was, I believe, strangled to death. Well, when you're with someone and you're supposed to be with that someone and you're not, that's what they say. She was supposedly cheating on her spouse or whatever it was. I don't know how true that is, but there are people that have come here, ghost hunters, and they've turned all the lights off, and they'll see, like, take pictures of orbs that are flying around, and inside the orb they can see a face, and according to them, there are spirits here.
In addition to Delmonico's own history, the restaurant was also deeply changed by New York City's events. During the Prohibition era,
like every other restaurant in the city, they worked, and I'm sure there was alcohol served, and
there's a lot of trapdoors. I mean, it was the first brothel in New York City.
Yeah.
There was a lot of trapdoors where people could go, and so I'm sure there was a speakeasy here. Certain people just knew about, and not everyone, and they would go and do what they had to do, because
at that time everybody drank.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
somebody got a tip and say, you know, the cops are coming.
What did they have, like 17,000 bottles of wine in 1937?
Yeah, you think they threw it all out?
It's not going to go in the garbage, that's for sure.
It was, you know, one bad period when it was 9/11. I mean, it was a terrible time, and everybody suffered, not just us. You know, we suffered financially, whatever. You know, there were no people. Downtown was like a ghost town.
When the economy hit, wasn't that great either.
Yeah, and too. So we had a little roller coaster ride here and there, unfortunately, but you know, right now Delmonico is great. Yeah.
Now you must be thinking, what does this all have to do with the urban arts? Well, not only was Delmonico's influenced by the city, but it is also an architectural, gastronomic, and mostly historical part of New York.
You know, so many things spawn from this restaurant. You know, so it is a bit of history that you carry while you're here. And you know, a lot of people that come here today, especially the younger generation, they don't even realize where they are. They just think it's another part of Manhattan. Yeah. But you know, it's so significant to the history of New York.
And this is where
the
New
culinary
York started.
world, and this is where everything started.
Downtown.
You know, everything started here.
Yeah, in Midtown you had farms. You know, the Queens was all farms. But
there was a wall there actually to keep the Indians on one side, Native Americans, and keep us facing towards the water, so we could see.
A lot of
British
streets are
invasion.
here named Wall Street.
Yeah.
Why Wall Street? You know,
It was an actual wall.
It was a damn wall there. That's why it was Wall Street. Or Bowling Green. Why Bowling Green? Well, when the Dutch were here, they used to bowl.
It was an actual bowling.
There was a green there, you know. It was like grass, so they used to bowl. So they called it Bowling Green. This is where New York started.